Welcome back, everybody. It's Rama from Junk Journal Divas. Okay, guys, it is the day. We're starting our mixed media challenge. I'm super duper excited here. I will link the video where I'm talking about introducing the challenge and talking about all of the supplies that we're going to be using for this 2 weeks of fun. Don't forget, if you want to enter into the giveaway, post your photos in Junk Journal Divas. Use the hashtag DivasMMC for Mixed Media Challenge and tag me. I will comment to let you know that I saw your post and you are entered. So our first challenge that we are going to be doing today, I've got these all ready here. So I'm calling the first one tie-dye, and you'll understand why when you see what we're doing. So for this one, we are going to be, first of all, gesso your substrate because we want it to seal and then let it dry really well. We're going to be using watercolor paint, and we're going to paint over our substrate. Whoops. I'm going to be using watercolor paper, very inexpensive, cheap watercolor paper. So I'm going to go over it really well with gesso. So then we're going to go over it with watercolor. And then while it's wet, we're going to splatter some rubbing alcohol on top of it, and that gives us the tie-dye effect. So this is challenge number 1. I'm super excited, you guys. So let's get started. So I'm starting off, I'm using this really inexpensive watercolor paper, so I want to put a nice generous layer of gesso on it. And I personally like to put some of my gesso in a smaller container, so that's what I'm doing here. It just makes it easier to put my brush down in there, and I don't have to worry about, squirting some out of the bottle. It's just what I prefer. So we're going to start off, and I'm going to do multiple pieces of paper because I'm going to be giving a lot of different examples, but I do suggest doing the same thing because it's kind of fun. If you're exploring and you have an idea along the way of something different that you want to try, then you'll have your substrate already gessoed and ready to go. So you can see here I'm putting a nice generous helping of gesso down. Okay guys, so we're ready to start here. I'm going to show you what I have. So these are my papers that my gesso is dry, and I'm going to be doing several of them just because I want everybody to be able to participate regardless of the supplies that you have. So I'm going to do some with watercolor. I'm also going to do some with acrylic. So supplies that I have here, I have a brush, this wider one that I want to just, apply my paint. I also have fan brushes. These are just my favorite to do splatters, dip and then splatter. And I also just have this skinny one. I have a jar just with some water for my paint brushes. A spray bottle in case I need it. And the important thing here is the isopropyl alcohol. It needs to be 90% or higher in order to work well. Okay, so I've got that. I have a little palette dish here just to mix some stuff. Now, I do have these, watercolor paints like this that come in the large palettes. I also have one like this. So this challenge, you'll hear me saying a lot. One of the sponsors is Yanette, who has the Tim Holtz and More Buying and Selling, a Facebook group. And she sells all Ranger products and a bunch of other stuff also. Right now she's got jewelry and fabrics. But she sent me this bag of all these different watercolors. And I know they're very concentrated, so you just need a tiny bit. I'm going to try to use them. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed up this part of the video because I want these videos to be short because not everybody likes videos where you're just chit-chatting and doing everything. So the way I thought the best way to do it is to explain what I'm going to do in the beginning, and then I will speed up going through the process. So I'm going to put some of my paints in the palette, here, and we are going to experiment. I'm just going to put down a layer of paint. You want the paint to be pretty concentrated, and you want the whole thing to be covered. You can use more than one color, it doesn't matter. And then you're just going to dip your paintbrush in the alcohol and splatter it, and you'll see when we get to that part. So I'm going to do that with the watercolor, and then we will try some acrylics. I grabbed some Tim Holtz paints to use for that, which I also got from Yanette. Okay, so let's get started here. Okay, so this is the first time I've used watercolors from the tube. These are like the fancy watercolors. So I'm just putting a tiny little bit. Some of them came out a little more than I wanted, but it's okay. We're going to use it all. And plus we want our color to be, well, I do. I want it to be kind of concentrated. So I'm also adding my rubbing alcohol here. Got my paper gessoed and ready to go. And then I'm just going to put down some color. You don't have to spritz your paper first, but I did. I'll show you some that I don't spritz, so you can kind of see the difference. I don't know, it takes a little bit to get used to how much water to have on your substrate with your color, and how just wet overall to have your paper. And you'll see if it's really wet when you splatter, you know, obviously because there's so much liquid on there, the cells kind of grow bigger. So here is the magic. Now, because I am kind of just showing you guys here for the first one, things that you can do, I am going to just go over this a bunch of times because I just wanted to show some different things here. So I've got my smaller brush, and you can see I'm just making a heart. You can do, you know, certain designs that you want. But after each time I go over my paper, you can see I'm kind of drying my brush on the paper towel because you want to get rid of that color. So I'm just starting over because I just wanted to show some things here. And then we can just splatter again. Then you can also just kind of play around with how much alcohol is on your brush. If you want to kind of tap it before you go over, like kind of tap it to get some of the alcohol off, and then splatter. You can see here I'm just kind of brushing that my fan brush across the substrate here. So there's just all kinds of different things to play around with. Now the other thing you don't have to do, of course, but I'm just kind of drying a lot in between, and that's partially, you know, because I'm in the video trying to show things and not very patient. And I'm adding some yellow here. You can play around with adding different colors. So I am going to play some music here. I think I show a couple of these with watercolor, and then I'm going to go, I'm going to show two different ones that I do with acrylic paint, just in case you don't have watercolor. Okay guys, it's the next day and these have been drying overnight and I want to show you the results here. Okay, so this is the first one. You can see where I dragged the fan brush with the yellow. We've got the second one here. So I left this one instead of dragging the paint, so you can see all those cells that form. Now you could go back in here, you could doodle in the circles. There's so many things that you can do, and at the very last day we're going to kind of go back and revisit things and add to it. Then we've got the pink. You can see all those cells in here. And then this one, so you can see I've just left the paint sitting on there to dry. So you've got those concentrated areas. Now this one's just kind of messy because I was playing around with making hearts. Instead of splattering, I was dipping my paintbrush in rubbing alcohol and I was making hearts, but then I just went over the whole thing. So you can't see the hearts. Now this was the first one that I was using the acrylic paint. And I really love the way this one turned out. It looks like a patina. I used the distress paint. Well, there's a couple of them. Tarnished brass, they're the metallic ones. And so it really gave it, there's that little bit of a sheen on it. I just really like this one. And then we have the last one here. This looks like Midnight Sky. Now the one thing about using acrylic paint is that, and this didn't quite turn out the way I wanted it to, but you can put a layer of paint down and you can let it dry, and because it's acrylic, when you go over top of it, it's not going to have that movement like watercolor. So you can put a layer down, let it dry, put a wet layer down, and then you can do your alcohol and that bottom layer will come through. So here we go, guys. I hope you had fun with this first challenge. Please do give me a thumbs up and let me know what you thought of this, if you learned anything or if you had other ideas. I worked really, really hard on this challenge, so any support, I would really appreciate it. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you tomorrow.